Welcome to the first edition of Hex Encounters here. So this game is from a smaller publisher, not a tiny publisher, but a smaller publisher. And it's one I feel hasn't gotten enough attention. So I'm going to feature it here on the channel. And what we're going to see here in a moment is the first look. So I don't want to go on and on and on about this, but this is the first episode of the new Hex Encounters series. And next time I'll probably have a better open than looking at me. But for now, I'm what you get. Hello and welcome to Hex Encountered. I'm Joe. In this video, we're going to be doing a first look at the game Death of an Army, Ypres 1914. This is Great War Battles Volume 1. It is from Revolution Games. I'm going to flip this over. It is the bagged version, as you can see. I'm going to actually just pull everything out of here, get it out of the bag. Right, so there's that. Here's the on the cover, on the rear side of the cover, rather, we have markers reference. I'm actually looking for the back. There is no back cover, perhaps. I was looking for some information on the game. But what we'll do is we'll just start simple here. So as I said, here's the cover. Backside, we do have a markers reference. So it shows you this is chart 3, of course. And I have chart 1 right here on off shot at the moment. But here you can see marker reference. So you've got march orders and, of course, the case location in the rule book. And we have disorganized and various levels of disorganization. Attack across open ground. That was always a bad idea during the First World War. Battles, isolated, game turns, etc. Unit types here. How to read a counter. So this is always important, of course. You got your arrival date there in the upper left. Division color, unit size, division ID, brigade regiment ID, combat strength. Across the bottom, we've got combat strength, stacking points, and movement allowance. There's the back side. The unit colors, British, French, German, 6th and 4th Armies, artillery, and the backside for artillery as well. So that's pretty useful. Now, before I go through the rest of the charts, let's take a look at the rules. So you have 2 rule books here, and they're pretty thin. This one is all of 4 pages, the exclusive rules. The series rules is a little bit longer. As you can see, it is designed by Kerry Anderson. Here is our table of contents for the rules. They run a total of 12 pages, and we'll take a closer look at those right now. Okay, so here's the rule book. Series rules. So we have the introduction. The Great War Battles is a series of games devoted to simulating battles of the First World War. Battles are covered at the brigade regiment level using a common set of rules. Games in the series cover a variety of situations ranging from trench warfare to open fighting. Then you've got your components here. We've got the rules booklets, okay, this one, plus the exclusive rules. The map sheet, the counters, the player aids, or player's aids, glossary, so this is common terminology that you'll encounter in the game, attack across the open, harassing fire, deployed status, things like that, melee, etc., etc. Zone of control, which sounds pretty standard here. Zone of control consists of the 6 hexes surrounding a non-artillery unit, so infantry basically. Artillery units have no ZOC. Zone of control projected by enemy units is an enemy zone of control, or EZOC. Friendly unit present in an EZOC contests the EZOC, otherwise it is uncontested. Preparation for play. Separate the colored forces. Players choose sides, then set up their units. Place the game turn marker on the first turn of the game turn record track. Play begins with the first player turn as described in the exclusive rules. Here's our sequence of play. It's played in a series of game turns, each generally representing 1 day. During each game turn, players conduct a series of actions as defined by the sequence of play. The sequence is as follows. First player turn. So the first player is the phasing player and conducts the following events in sequence: coordinated combat phase, the movement phase, a hasty combat phase, surrender phase, and then the second player turn, which follows the same sequence as the first player turn. Here's a description of coordinated combat. We'll go through the rules more in depth as I play. That's typically how I do it. These first looks are just that, a first look at the components and a basic overview of the rules. You got a whole bunch of things in here for attacking, defending. You've got artillery defending in a melee, defending cavalry, artillery barrages, defensive fire support, melee, results, retreat, covered retreat, overkill, advance after combat, battle markers. And then we have the movement rules, covering almost 2 pages. Procedure, stacking limits. So maximum number of units in the hex are defined in the exclusive rules. Rivers and canal crossings, march order, forced march, rail movement, limbered artillery, and deployed artillery. Then you've got harassing fire, which is the non-phasing player firing his artillery at units within range of units in march order or entrained as they are moving. You've got disorganization. And we've got zone of control, explanation, hasty combat, isolation and its effects, surrender as a sub of the isolation rules. Special rules, you've got army demoralization, attack across the open, corps and army artillery, counter battery fire, line of sight, open sights, right? So that's firing while in limbered status, and reduced range on the limbered side. This is referred to as firing over open sights and requires an unblocked line of sight. And we've got restructuring, and then here we have a coordinated combat phase example with illustrations and descriptions. You can see the several illustrations here and the combat stage sequence. And then on the back, we've got designer notes and the credits for the game. The original edition and then the Revolution edition, and here's our sequence of play again. So that is the rule book, and then we have the exclusive rules for Death of an Army. So this is only 4 pages, very thin, easy to get through here. So you've got a description up top, introduction basically, then you've got your components, which consist of the cover sheet, the rules in general and exclusive booklets, 122 by 34 inch map, 3 sheets of 5/8-inch counters, 2 player aid sheets, 1 scenario setup sheet, a game box or Ziploc bag. In this case, I got the Ziploc. Descriptions of them, general rules. Our stacking limits for this are 4 stacking points per hex. There are stacking points printed on each counter. We kind of saw that in the rules. Rules for how stacking works in terms of limitations and what happens if you cannot get out of stack, if you're in violation of the stacking limits, etc., etc. Divisional, corps, and army restrictions. You got line of communication, all this stuff here. And we got our special rules for corps and army artillery, independent brigades and cavalry, British infantry brigades, the British Territorial Army, the French 89th Territorial Division, Sampson's Armored Car Group, French withdrawal, and we've got setup and reinforcement schedule, and our scenarios. 3 scenarios. The first captures the initial meeting engagement of the opposing armies, while the second focuses on the main German attack led by General Fabeck, and the final scenario is the entire battle. So the first one is the Battle of Langemarck. Allies set up first. And the game length, 4 days, or 5 days, I guess, starts on the 20th, ends on the 24th. Germans are the first player. Victory conditions, then Fabeck's attack, first Battle of Ypres, which is the campaign game, and the setup for that, etc. Then you've got your victory conditions, exiting the map, designer notes, bibliography, and credits. So that is the rules. Here are some of the other charts. So this would be chart 1. We have 2 copies of it. And so on one side, you have the terrain effect chart as we see here. And on the other side, we have the fire combat result table, the melee combat result table, harassing fire results table. Got our stacking limits, the unit size here, in case you're not familiar with how that works, battalion, regiment, brigade, etc., up through corps. The color codes for the two German armies, as well as the British and French. Here's our terrain effects chart with the pretty common. You got a nice example here so you can tell what it is. If it's a hex or a hex side, crossing a hex side, etc. You have what it is, and then you have your movement point costs, your barrage effect, DRM, your defensive fire effect, your melee effect, retreat points, and then any notes that may help explain things. And over here we have chart number 4, which is the campaign and Langemarck setup. Here's our French 8th Army, the German 6th, the German 4th, and the BEF, the British Expeditionary Force. On the back, we have the setup for Fabeck's attack scenario. So this would be scenario 2. This is considered chart number 5. Again, you've got the French, the BEF, the German 4th and 6th armies. Now here we have counter sheet 3, counter sheet 2, and counter sheet 1. So we'll take them in order. Here's counter sheet 1. Our blue units, they represent the French, as you can probably guess here. So you have your, again, attack on the left, movement on the right, and stacking cost in the middle. Right, so you can see what that is. These are regiments. And over here we have the British. These are brigades. As you can see, a lot of British units. There's an armored car. Mostly infantry. There's some artillery. And then you have some disorganization chits. Right. There's the French armies. And they have some divisions here as well. And we have counter sheet 2. These are Germans. So you have the green, the darker green is, I think, the, I forget now, the 6th Army, I think. I would have to look. Let's see. The 4th Army. I was backwards. All right. 4th Army, 6th Army. So again, you look at them. These are battalions. Oh, no, regiments and battalions, sorry. A little mix. There's some brigades in here as well. Pretty standard, easily readable counters here. On the reverse side, you can see reduction, etc. Then we've got a few more unit counters here on counter sheet 3, as well as some markers. Attack across open ground. We got battle markers. We have some disorganization markers as well. A lot of these, you've got isolated markers. Here's the turn marker. On the other side, you can see you've got the reverse of these has some information, some of these markers. For melee, no attack, no assault or fire support, etc. And then the reverse of the game turn markers. So those are our markers, and now it's time to take a look at the map. Okay, here's our map. As you can see, it is a map sheet, not a map board. That's fine. You could put it under some plexi or something to kind of keep it clear, keep it flat. It has been folded up in a bag, so it is not specifically laying flat. It is also sideways to your view because this is the form of the map itself. The top is over here. See the title of the game. Allied off-board artillery on this side, German off-board artillery on this side. Here's a legend, right? The Great War Battles, Volume 1 up here. And of course, we have the map. The terrain, the map and the terrain are very clear and easy to read and understand. Here's the The main location, Ypres, right here in kind of the middle, a little left of center. And then you can see kind of the canal, right? The Ypres Canal here, and the river, and which forms the border between Belgium and France. So this part is Belgium. This is France down here. So you get an idea of the map layout. We've got rail line. I guess there are no roads on here, but you do get rail lines. A lot of open terrain, of course, and then you do have some other terrain types in here, some forest, etc. Of course, the water features and various villages spread around, and other towns as well. This is a look at the map. I will be playing this game, so you will be seeing gameplay of this in the not too distant future. I will probably do some kind of themed thing around the First World War. I have a lot of First World War games I would like to play in the near future, so this will probably be a part of that effort. So you can look forward to seeing that sometime in the coming weeks and days. But for now, that's going to do it. I do appreciate you guys taking time to watch. I hope you enjoyed the first look at the game Death of an Army. This is Volume 1 of the Great War Battles. This is from Revolution Games and is designed by Kerry Anderson. But that's going to do it. If you have any questions or comments about the game or anything else, feel free to post them, and I will do my best to reply in as timely a fashion as I can. Other than that, I would always ask, as I do, to get any support from you that is possible in terms of likes and shares and even possibly subscriptions. You can click on the bell to get notifications, etc., etc. That always helps me, helps the channel, gives me some positive feedback, etc. So if you're willing to do that, that would be greatly appreciated. If you are already a subscriber, thank you very much for your support. It is greatly appreciated. But that's it for this one. I am Joe, and until next time, here on the Hex Encounter channel, I want to wish you all happy gaming.